I am live and I'm doing the news by myself today. Justin is stuck at work. Justin is an iron worker and he got stuck at work because of the rain. Uh, Pretty dangerous job, actually. He's always very high on a scaffold or on some steel. He's always like 30, 40, 50 stories up doing some steel work, so on and so forth. But he is stuck at work tonight. And we had postponed this one from Saturday. So I don't want to miss a week. So I decided I'm going to do it myself. Now, Justin is the funny one. I'm the straight guy, right? So I'm the straight guy. Justin's the funny one. If anybody knows anything about comedy duos, the famous comedy duos of all time is you have the slapstick, the funny guy, and you have the straight guy, right? Abbott and Costello. Costello was the funny one. Abbott was the straight one. Laurel and Hardy, Dean and Martin. You go down the list. That's how it is. So Justin's the funny guy. I'm the straight guy, but I'm also the crowd that laughs. So, okay, because those guys had live audiences. I don't have a live audience. So I'm the guy that laughs, and he knows that he's saying something funny because I'm the one he's making laugh, right? It turns out to be pretty good chemistry. But today, I'm going to do the news by myself. And I'm only going to cover one topic. I'm covering Roe versus Wade. And there's a reason why I'm covering Roe versus Wade. I mean, obviously, it's the biggest news topic today and over the weekend. And it actually hits home a little bit with me, too, because I've always wanted children, and I never had the opportunity to have children. So it kind of is more of a personal thing with me too. When I was young, and I'm 46 now, when I was young in my early 20s, and I was in college, I was a lot more liberal than I am now. I still believe that I'm liberal, but some of my views have changed. But they change not because of me, they change because of statistics that have come my way, and I'm able to pay attention and go, oh, I see, I didn't know that. That changes things, right? And just to keep it PG, there are certain words that you're not allowed to say. If anybody watches the news with me and Justin, you can't say grape. You have to say grape, okay? And when I put it in context, if you haven't seen the news with us before, you'll understand. And you can't say, you have to say shmoshmorshin, right? So I'm going to say shushmorshin and grape if it's necessary, all right? Which it'll be necessary. So why don't we just dive right into this? Friday, Roe versus Wade was overturned. Before that, it was a federal law that every state provide shmushmorshin for women. Now it is state to state. And every state now will perform the legislature differently. So every state will be different. Some states won't change. New York isn't going to change. California isn't going to change. Illinois isn't going to change. The more Democratic the state, the more it's not going to change. And the more Republican the state, the more conservative the state, the more it might change. They might have stricter circumstances in order to get a shmushmorshin, or they might not allow you to get a shmushmorshin at all. I've heard, I didn't do exact research. I've heard states like Alabama, Texas, the more conservative states, the more down south, they're not going to allow you to get a shmushmorshin at all. Okay. Now we'll see as everything unturns. It's a little early yet. We'll see what happens. Okay. Statistics have come my way, and I've read a lot about certain stats and watched YouTube channels and listened to podcasts about certain stats, and these stats are very easily verifiable, and it has changed my opinion. I think it is a good thing that Roe versus Wade was overturned, personally. And I don't even think it's because of children, unborn babies being murdered, okay? And that is true. That is what's happening. But there's something different going on. And what's going on is referred to as the she economy. So the she economy is obviously the modern day economy, which is filled with women, and we're referring to it as the she economy. So the economy has been filling up with women since the 1960s. It has grown, so on and so forth. And it's a good thing, right? Women want to go out and they want to get educated and they want to have careers and they want to make their own money. And there's never a problem with that, except that there are consequences that comes along with these things. So let me explain. There was a poll done. Morgan Stanley did this poll. And I write everything down. So if you hear me flipping pages, it's me. It was a poll done. Morgan Stanley did this poll. Okay. And they basically said that by 2030, they did a projecting. They project that by 2030, this was a research poll that was done by Morgan Stanley, that by 2030, 45% of working women will be single and childless, which means almost half the economy will be single, childless women. The age bracket in which most women are working is between the ages of 25 and 45, which, as we know, between 25, early 20s, 18 to about 35 is prime years, and even 35 is pushing it. Prime years to get pregnant. So what's inevitably happening? What's inevitably happening is that more women are going to school. I think now college is 60% women. It is more women than men across the board in colleges and higher education, bachelor's, master's, so on and so forth. It's about 60% women now. What's happening is they're educating themselves. They want to have a career. They want to be independent. They don't want to rely on a husband. And they want to make their own money and so on and so forth. And so what's happening is more and more women of that age group is moving into the workforce and is becoming a very, very, very strong part of the workforce. And by 2030, which is only 8 years away, less 7.5 years away, it will be almost half, which is a tremendous amount of the nation's workforce, a huge amount. And there's a reason why I'm saying and stating these stats. So let's go into the shmushmorshin stats, okay? Now, it's difficult to get stats from the shmushmorshin because some states have required that you need to give reasoning and other states don't require it. So you can only go by the states that require it. But for the most part, it gives you a nationwide. Like, for example, one of the states is Florida. If you want to get a shmushmorshin in Florida, you have to give reason, okay? You have to answer questions and so on and so forth. They're not going to deny you. You just have to give reason. That's one of the states. And there's several other states. And these are the combination of all the states, the averages of stats that women give as to why they are going to get a shmushmorshin. And here they are. 75% of women that abort their babies say it's because it's going to be inconvenient of their education and their career. It is going to stop their education and or their career. That's 75%. So 75% basically say they're not going to have a child now because they want to continue with their higher education or because they want to continue with their career. So they still have sex. They still have unprotected sex. They still have sex without any type of birth control. And I don't want to hear there's accidents and things slip up. Okay, we're just talking generally speaking, this is what's happening. And that if this happens and they want to get a shmushmorshin, 75% of the time, this is the reason. Now, that leaves 25%. 24% of the time, it is I can't afford it or I don't want to be a single parent. So 99% of the time, it is basically an inconvenience. It is, I made the decision to have sex, and I made the decision to have unprotected sex or to have sex without birth control. I made the decision not to have plan B, and I now want to get a smush motion, which basically says I'm not accountable for my decisions on doing this, because whether you say it's an accident or not, if you decide that you're going to have sex, the end result could always be, whether it's an accident or not, that you are going to get pregnant. That is the whole reason behind sex. The other 1% that people love to pull out as defense to Roe versus Wade is rape and incest. Rape is less than 1%. Incest is less than 0.5%. And this doesn't mean that you cannot get a shmushmortion if those things happen to you. Most states, under extreme circumstances like those, are going to allow it, even if they don't allow it. Okay. Now, here's where it gets even better, right? So if that's not reason enough that I think people should be a little bit more accountable with their decisions, here's where it gets even better. There's a socioeconomic aspect to this, whether you're poor or whether you're independent and you make your own money. There is a socioeconomic aspect to whether you're going to abort the child or you are not going to abort the child. And this is the part that changed my mind drastically. Women that make $47,000 a year or more are 32% willing to get a shmushmortion. So let me rephrase that. A woman that makes $47,000 a year or more in this country has a 30% chance to abort their own child. Obviously, their own child, to abort their child. That's a third. That's a third of women that decide, well, I make too much money, what they consider is to be too much money, and that it is going to be an inconvenience and it's going to infringe on my lifestyle, and I'm going to have to support this child, and I am going to decide that I'm going to abort the child. Okay, so it's a socioeconomic reason, right? Now, you go in the other direction. The other direction is women that are at the poverty level. Women that make below $11,670,000 a year or less will only abort their child about 8% of the time. So why is that? Why is that more women that are more educated and make more money are more willing to abort their child? And the reason is they want to push it back. They want to push it back because they want to get their education and they want to get their career. And the further they're along with the career, then the more money they're going to make. And obviously, if you are pregnant, you have to take care of the child. That puts a big damper on your career. Everybody knows that one of the reasons why women have to take so much time off is usually for childcare reasons. As a matter of fact, the majority of women do this willingly, because a lot of women actually turn out that they want to have kids, and they realize by the time they're 30, 35, they go, my God, I really wanted to have kids, and I never really knew it because it's instinctual. But anyway, this is basically what's happening. These numbers are easily rectifiable, are easily verifiable. Okay, I'm pretty sure that these stats are coming from the Brookings Institute. Okay, now anybody could Google this. Don't take my word for it. Anybody could Google this. Anybody could look up these stats. Okay, and these are stats, and these are solid, verifiable numbers. All right. Now here's the best part. This one's even better. This part's even better. There are companies right now, today, right now. Now, this was just overturned on Friday. There are major Fortune 500 companies right now, today, that say to their women employees, and it's part of their benefits package, if you get pregnant and if you decide to have a shmushmortion, We are willing to pay for you to go across state lines if you live in a state that does not allow you to have a shmishmortion, right? Or doesn't allow you to have it because of poor reasoning or, not enough reasoning, depending on the state that you're in now, since Roe versus Wade is overturned, and then now it's up to the state. If you're in a state that you're not able to get a shmortion, you are able, these companies are willing to pay you to go across state lines, go to a state. They will pay the medical center. Okay. They will pay them outright. And then you could come back and go to work. Now, why are they doing this? They're doing this because it is much less expensive to do that than a woman to leave work, go out on pregnancy leave, stay out for God knows how long, because, a lot of women, this is when once they decide that they want to be wives, they then rather mothers, and they stay home and they be mothers, and it's very fulfilling to them. Or even the first year, 2 years, where they really have to be home with their child. Okay, it does cost less money for a company to offer a girl to go across state lines, abort the child, and come back to work than it is to have you leave, have them hire somebody else to fill your spot, and give that person your salary wage, and then you have to come back to work when you feel like you're ready to come back to work, and now you have more than one employee that's in that spot. It costs less money for them to literally pay for you to abort your own child. All right, and the companies that are doing this, here's some of the companies that I know of that are doing this: Tesla, Starbucks, Disney, Amazon, Morgan Stanley. And they started this months ago as if they knew that this was going to be overturned. So obviously they knew that this was going to be overturned. I mean, if this isn't proof enough that major companies and politics are tightly intertwined, I don't know what is, right? I mean, this is just it is just literally in your face that these companies and politics are tightly intertwined. It's just literally smacked in your face. But the thing is, the majority of people don't do their research. They don't know the numbers. They don't know the stats. So their argument is on emotion. And they go on these emotional arguments. Well, what if the girl what if it's incest? What if she's underage? What if she is great? And as we said before, the amount of people that are aborting their child because of those reasons is literally all three, 1%. 99% is basically because the child is going to be an inconvenience at that time in this person's life. And I'm sorry, but I truly believe that people, especially now more than ever, need to be accountable for their decisions. Too many people point the finger. Too many people play the victim. Too many people do not want to be accountable for major, major, major life decisions. Okay, and I'm going to say something else. This is not going to be very popular, but I'm also going to say, when we said that the majority of girls that make $47,000 a year or more are deciding more so to abort their child, it's basically a third, right? As the girls are making more money, $70,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year, those stats are going to go up. You're going to get more percentage of women that are going to choose to abort the child because it's going to infringe on their career. But if you go into the other direction and you go to the poverty line, and the girls that are in the poverty line, which is basically about $11,000 a year or less, right? 670,000. Those women only are about 8%. Only 8% of those women will abort their child. So why? Why is somebody that is so poor and so broke and legitimately can't afford to have it, why are they willing to have the child? The answer is pretty simple. Because if you have a child and the less money you make, the more help you're going to get from government, and or the more help you're going to get from the baby's father if he is if you are not married. And that is the opinion, and you could literally dislike me for that opinion, but all these stats are easily verifiable. And I hate, usually the news, I do with Justin, and it's very funny. But I did this one myself. I have not done one by myself. I have not done one where it is something serious. So I decided that I'm going to do this one by myself. Let's see. I got some, let's see. Abortion is murder. Plain and simple, all murderers have a reason. Okay. And here is Adam McCole Bebe. What's up? What's up, Adam McCole Bebe? So, unfortunately, you're going to have to go back. I'm not going to give you all the stats all over again, but unfortunately, you're going to have to go back and check out what I just said. I think it's really interesting. I think the majority of these stats, the majority of these numbers and studies, people don't know because they are not, I think they are not being told by mainstream media, but these numbers are easily verifiable. Here we go. I mean, it's true. Okay, I believe you. No. Yeah, well, you see, it is true, but I'm not going to have, if any woman wants to come, doesn't like what I had to say, and any woman wants to come on my podcast and debate me on this, I will have nothing but respect for you. But I'm not going to get down deep in I'm not going to get down deep on an emotional argument, because the numbers don't reflect emotion, and the numbers happen to be true. And if you verify these numbers yourself, you will see that you don't have to say you're killing babies, because when they're going to drag you into that argument, well, it's my body, right? But the numbers that back up the stats that I just gave, you can't argue with. You can't argue. You get angry. You can stop watching me. You could hit the unsubscribe button right now, but you can't argue with them. Okay. Anyway, guys, I'm going to cut this one short because Justin is not with me, but he will be back next week. Actually, no, he'll be back either Friday or Saturday when we do it again. And the next one will be very funny. This one was more informative. I hope everybody understands my point of view and where I come from. I only form my opinion on stats and numbers and studies. And if I don't know it, I say I don't know. And this is my opinion, and these are the reasons why. And my reasons why are affected from these studies and these stats. Guys, listen. Anybody who watches me, whether you hate me or love me, thank you. Thank you very much. And I got some really good people coming on. I got some really good interviews coming on. As everybody knows, I am more of a interview show. Okay, so I have Gene Borello coming on. Gene Borello was a former mafia guy. I just got his book. Okay, and the title of his book is Born into Life, Gene Borello, the story of an ex-Bonanno family mafia enforcer. He is coming on, and we're going to do a one-on-one interview about his life of crime, his time with organized crime figures, his time in prison, and so on and so forth. Put a commercial for the news. Oh, I don't know. All right. The other person I'm going to have on is okay, everybody's coming on so we can watch. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, what I usually do, okay, you know what? You're right. From now on, the problem is Justin. I want Justin to come on because he's very funny and we have good chemistry. But because we both work, it's like, okay, when can you do it? Can you do it Saturday? Can you do it Friday? Can you do it Saturday? Can you do it Friday? Can you do it today? Can you do it Monday? So I don't really put up a commercial. But from now on, I promise that from now on, I will try my best to put a story or a post on Instagram and Facebook about when and what time me and Justin will be doing the news. I normally do it, but a lot of times I stopped doing it because a lot of times we have to We have to postpone it because, like I said, today Justin, he was supposed to be with me today, but today Justin got stuck at work. And it's not like we have the type of jobs where it's like, we work from home. I mean, we're both blue collar guys. So I am a sewer worker. I'm underneath the ground all day, and he's the complete opposite. He's a steel worker, so he's 50 stories above ground all day. But I will try my hardest to put out a post on Instagram and Facebook. So my Instagram is Serious and Silliness. My Facebook is John Livia, and both of them have the icon, the Serious and Silliness icon. The half court jester, half gladiator. His cigarettes got stuck in the drain pipe. Yeah, he's a steel worker actually. So he's actually doing the steel on high-rise buildings, the foundation and the steel on high-rise buildings. I couldn't do that job because I'm okay on a ladder, but once you get me past 20 feet, I don't know how he does it. Sometimes he sends me video footage of him working, and he shows me like down, and you see the cars and the people, and they look like ants. That's how high up he is. And I'm like, I don't know how you do this job, dude. I would need a diaper. I would shit in my pants constantly. Anyway, yes, Gene Barella will be one of my guests. He's coming on. He'll be on next week, so he'll be on. That'll be interesting because everybody loves the organized crime interviews I do. Everybody loves the organized crime. If you haven't seen the organized crime interviews that I do, Rita Gigante, the daughter of Vincent the Chinga Gigante, go look at that one. It was fantastic. Frankie Steele. Frankie Steele was during the war between the Colombo crime family in the late 80s, early 90s. Larry Mazza has become a personal friend, and he's been on my show 3 different times. He was also part of that war and so on and so forth. He was a made member in the mafia, and all these guys have changed their life. All these guys have decided, this is not good. This is not the life for me. And they've come out of prison and they're trying to stay straight. And some guys are real, like Larry, Frank. I have not had the pleasure of having John Elite on. I do want to get him on. I'm hoping by next month. I've been on his show, actually. John Elite, I've been on his show. He's another guy that had a amazing past in organized crime. And now he has made a complete 180 and is a totally different person. The other person I'm having on, another bodybuilder, Alicia Young. Alicia Young is a female bodybuilder. She's a female bodybuilder. I don't have a picture of her. Do I have a picture of her? Alicia Young is a female bodybuilder that has become more or less a sex symbol, I guess you could say. She is a lot of guys are really, really digging her. Let's see if I could find a picture of Alicia Young, and then I'll show you, because she is a female bodybuilder and she has a lot of muscle, but she is really a beautiful woman. And I think I'm going to ask her, I think she has more success as a model than she actually does as a bodybuilder, right? Well, I don't know. It's not really a good picture, but that's more or less what she looks like. She has beautiful hair, beautiful skin. You could see she's very, very muscular, but very feminine at the same time. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, guys. Let's see. What's this? Brooklyn Spring Valleys. TITS have more scars than a rainbow. oh, wow, dude. Yo, she got mad at me? No, yeah, dude. She Brooklyn Spring Valley actually got mad at me, and I guess it was kind of my fault. I had interviewed her husband. She had Brooklyn on. She had interviewed her husband, and her husband is not a blue collar guy. I don't know what he does for a living, but he's not a blue collar guy. And she had messaged me one time. And she said, this was when I had interviewed her a couple of years ago, last year, a couple of years ago. I'm only doing it 2 years, so last year. And she said, I think some of your viewers are watching me because she had changed her own something on her car. I don't know if she changed the battery or she changed something on herself on her car. And somebody had made a comment, and normally it was just guys that her Instagram posts and everything, and normally guys that just are in love with her, right? Because she's this beautiful adult film star, right? And so I said, I shouldn't have said it, but I did, and I said, well, you don't. I said, you don't have a choice. Your husband doesn't even know how to use a screwdriver. And she got really mad at me. And I realized I shouldn't have said that. I did apologize several times. I'm like, look, I really shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. Blah, blah, blah. And so since then, she hasn't talked to me. But, so it's what it is. It is what it is. I have no hard feelings toward her. She's a tremendous, she was a great guest. And it was just me with my stupid humor and my slip of the tongue. And, nobody wants to get their husband insulted, right? She said the right thing. She said, basically saying, hey, don't make fun of my husband. I would say the same thing. Said something about my wife, right? Anyway, that's that. The Arnold Schwarzenegger address. Yeah, man, look, she's not for everybody, but I'm just saying that in that world, and we're going to talk about it. I mean, she's a very well-established bodybuilder, but she's also a well-established sex symbol and model, right? But we're going to talk about it. She's going to be pretty interesting person to come on. Anyway, all right, that's it for me, guys. I'm going to hit the gym, and that's it. And next time, I'm going to put a post up, and it's going to be me and Justin, and we're going to be back to funny, haha, funny news videos. All right, guys, listen. Remember, like and subscribe, Serious and Silliness, and share it with everybody. Thank you. Later, guys.